The car's been bead blasted, it's been primered, it's been fixed, it's been put back together to test fit all the doors and trunks, and then it's taken apart and painted, correct?
Yes. Once all of that work has been done, then it comes over to our paint shop and we bring it in here. We suspend all of the components, and this is a Garment downdraft booth, good and clean booth. It's controlled heat. We're able to control our airflow through the booth, and all the cars that we paint, completes, are painted in this booth.
How do you assure that the paint is going to be the same when you pull it apart like this and you're painting the doors and then you're painting the body? How do you know that they're all going to match perfectly?
All solid colors can be painted in pieces just like this, and we mix all the paint, pre-mix all of the paint. If we need 6 quarts of paint, we'll mix 2 gallons of paint to make sure that we do not run out of paint. All the paint is pre-mixed and what we call batched, where we mix it all together so that all the paint's the same color. And then with solid colors, you don't have any problems as far as mismatching the panels. Metallics are a different story.
What kind of changes have you seen, say, in the last 20 years from the way things were done then to now in painting?
Well, because of a lot of the new rules and regulations here in the state of California, the paint is different now than it used to be, and much harder to work with.
Is it the final product, is it better, or do you long for the good old days and the paint you had back then?
Well, I'm much too young to remember the good old days, so I like what we're using today.
All right, after this, everything, the pieces are painted. What happens next?
The next thing we do with all these components is that we will take and cut and polish, which means we wet sand all of the painted surfaces and polish them with the buffer.
The components of the car have gone into the spray booth, they've been painted, they end up here. What happens here?
Okay, all of the imperfections in the paint job, in the clear, when paint is sprayed today, it has a ripple effect. It has what we call orange peel in it. It is not smooth like you would want the paint to be. So what we do is we block sand, wet sand the surface with sandpaper and water, and we end up with a surface that is very dull. And then we take polishing compound and buffers, and we will buff back the surface finish to where it is as smooth as glass. That's what happens in this part right here.
So the sandpaper that you're using is such a low grit that it's not doing any permanent damage, it's just knocking down the high spots, and then there's enough there that you can just buff it out.
We actually get down to 1500 grit, and it's very, very, very fine. There will be no scratches at all, and what very fine scratches are left are removed with the buffer.